I have nothing to say about all that shit.
Rock and roll, for all its swagger and strut, has never been a business for the faint-hearted. It is a world where artistic expression, unchecked egos, and fierce competition collide with often explosive results. Amid the glitz and glamour of the 1960s and 1970s, there was a constant undercurrent of rivalry that defined the era, and perhaps no clash was more emblematic of the tension than the unspoken feud between The Who and Led Zeppelin. These two titans of British rock may have shared the same stage, but they also harbored deep misgivings about one another, with each believing they stood at the pinnacle of the hard rock movement. The Who, fronted by the visionary songwriter Pete Townshend, had already secured their place in rock history by the time Led Zeppelin roared onto the scene. Formed in 1964, The Who were at the vanguard of the mod subculture, their music capturing the youthful anger and frustration of an entire generation. With their loud, defiant sound, The Who quickly became synonymous with the rebellious spirit of the swinging 60s. As their early singles like My Generation echoed across Britain, they established themselves as one of the most innovative bands of the era.
We were all in the school band, and Keith Moon, who came later on as a drummer, he joined when we were already rocking.
Led Zeppelin, by contrast, emerged in the late 1960s, formed from the embers of the Yardbirds. Guitarist Jimmy Page, already a veteran of the London scene, set out to recruit musicians who could bring his vision of a heavier, more visceral sound to life. By the time Robert Plant, John Bonham, and John Paul Jones joined forces with Page, the ingredients for one of the most iconic rock bands of all time had come together. It was in the smoky rehearsal rooms of London where Zeppelin would refine their sound, and in one such moment of rock serendipity, it was The Who's irrepressible drummer Keith Moon who unwittingly gave them their name. A legend was born, but it was never destined to coexist peacefully with the established order.
It got to the point where I was looking for new members. We have a rehearsal in London, and then I get them to my house to record everything that we're going to need for a set, and everything that we're going to need for Led Zeppelin 1.
For all their shared origins in the British rock explosion, The Who and Led Zeppelin would never see eye to eye. Townshend, a man whose bristling intellect was matched only by his occasional abrasiveness, made it clear that he felt Led Zeppelin's success owed more than a little to the trail The Who had already blazed. Townshend has long claimed that The Who's live performances, particularly their legendary 1970 album Live But Leads, laid the groundwork for what would become the dominant hard rock sound. To him, Zeppelin's heavy riffs, thunderous drums, and frenetic energy were all derivative of what The Who had pioneered. In interviews, Townshend has often sounded resentful, as if the rise of Zeppelin was a slight against his own band's achievements. He has dismissed comparisons between the two groups with more than a hint of bitterness, bemoaning that The Who's influence has been overshadowed by Zeppelin's towering presence.
I haven't liked a single thing that they've done. I hate the fact that I'm ever even slightly compared to them.
His remarks over the years reveal a man unwilling to give his rivals any quarter, a man whose pride in his own work remains fiercely intact. "We sort of invented heavy metal," he once declared, and there is little doubt that, in his eyes, Led Zeppelin were pretenders to the throne.
I've always felt that maybe I took rock too seriously, but it's hard to really figure out why I feel so strongly, why I feel so involved and committed to rock as a sort of if you like, a society changer, you know.
Robert Plant, meanwhile, has been no less cutting in his appraisal of The Who. While Zeppelin's lead singer has never been as quick to engage in public spats, his disdain for The Who's latter-day incarnations is palpable. To Plant, the endless reunion tours and nostalgia trips that have defined The Who's later years are little more than a sad spectacle. Having watched his own band's brief flirtation with reunions, Plant remains adamant that Led Zeppelin will never become a nostalgia act. His words on the subject drip with disappointment, as if watching The Who soldier on without their mercurial drummer Keith Moon represents a betrayal of rock's original spirit of rebellion. For Plant, The Who's decision to replace Moon, augment their live shows with additional musicians, and continue touring well into their twilight years is nothing short of tragic. While the personal animosities between Townshend and Plant have rarely spilled over into outright confrontation, The rivalry between their respective bands has been a simmering undercurrent for decades. It's a curious dynamic, given that both The Who and Led Zeppelin are revered as cornerstones of British rock, each occupying a space of their own within the genre's development. Yet the mutual distaste between the two has persisted, a testament perhaps to the insecurities and vanities that underpin even the most successful careers in rock music.
Just never liked the band, and I don't know whether I've just got a problem block to them because they became so much bigger than The Who in so many ways in their chosen field, but I'd never liked them.
What makes this rivalry so intriguing is the sheer lack of common ground between the two. The Who, with their concept albums and rock operas, aim to blend rock with artistic ambition, creating grand, sweeping statements like Tommy and Quadrophenia that aspired to elevate the genre.
Of course, you know, my generation,
Led Zeppelin, on the other hand, embraced rock's primal energy, their music more visceral, more grounded in the blues, and less concerned with intellectualism. While The Who looked outward, exploring themes of identity and alienation, Zeppelin turned inward, their music a vehicle for exploration of personal and mythic realms. In the end, it is this divergence in philosophy that may explain why Townshend and Plant have always seemed like oil and water. Townshend's desire to be seen as the intellectual force behind rock's evolution contrasts sharply with Zeppelin's emphasis on pure, unfiltered power. There is a sense that Townshend views Zeppelin's overwhelming popularity as an affront to his own legacy, while Plant seems to find The Who's persistence in the face of age a distasteful exercise in self-indulgence. As the years have rolled on, the stakes have diminished. Both The Who and Led Zeppelin are now well into their 70s, and while their heyday may be long behind them, the weight of their contributions to music remains undeniable. The bitterness, however, lingers. In a genre that thrives on rivalry, where egos and competition are as much a part of the landscape as the music itself, it is perhaps inevitable that two bands as significant as The Who and Led Zeppelin would find themselves at odds. What remains to be seen is whether, with time running out, either side will be able to put their differences to rest, or whether this will remain one of rock's great unfinished stories.
I respect Robert's decision, I really do.
I see.
And to be honest, it may be private, I don't know, but there's quite a lot of bad karma for Robert with Bono's death, and you know,
right?
Not Bono, Bonzo.
Bonham, yeah, Bonzo.
Bonzo,
yeah.
But with his death, and so it's painful for Robert. Zeppelin, there was some bad karma in there from the old days. And Peter Grant was kind of it wasn't a happy kind of end when they ended.
Right. Have you talked to him about it?
Yeah, well, I have.
So he
and
would
I respect his decision. Because they probably, he might be able to manage. I don't think he could even manage one show now at his age.